Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G-Lauren33. I am back here today with another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast for you guys. Here tonight with your Smackdown review and results for February 4th, 2022. Hope you guys are staying safe and healthy. And I'm going to start off the podcast tonight by giving you the rating for last night's Smackdown. And, this is one of the positives, one of the positives of me waiting to do my reviews, right? So I have the rating right here. Well, first I'm going to give you guys the rating of last week's Smackdown. It was 2.3. No, not 2.3. 2.03. Which isn't bad. WWE struggles to do anything above a 2 these days. Raw, SmackDown, NXT. So I say getting above a 2 is kind of a win for WWE. Kind of a win. And that was a show where Sasha Banks wasn't even advertised. And if you go back, the highest rated segment was Sasha's surprise return right before the Royal Rumble. This week, and remember, there's a lot of factors that go into this. A lot of factors. This week's SmackDown, it's the SmackDown after the Royal Rumble, one of the biggest shows of the year for WWE, right? It's the first SmackDown on the official road to WrestleMania, because WWE always says the road to WrestleMania starts after the Royal Rumble. You also had the rumors of WWE legend Goldberg coming back. You also had, of course, Roman Reigns advertised after what happened with Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble and Seth Rollins and all of that good stuff, right? You also had Charlotte Flair advertised. You also had Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's first appearance ever on SmackDown. That was advertised as well. You would think with all of that, right? All those factors, this would be a big show for WWE, right? And you think that with all that advertising and everybody thinking about that going into SmackDown, this would be a must-watch show. You would think that they would easily do over a 2 rating, right? Because I just said anything over a 2 these days on WWE TV is a win for WWE, I guess. No. Guess what they did, guys? They did a 0.5 in the key 18 to 40 demo rating, and they got a 1.998. 1.998. They could even get the 2 with all of those factors being involved. This is WWE we're talking about, folks. This is WWE we're talking about. And guess what? Sasha Banks was nowhere to be found last night. I know a lot of people were saying maybe Sasha really took her ball and went home. And if she did, I don't know. I don't have any news on that. I'm not going to report something that I don't know, but if that is true, good for Sasha Banks. This is not 2019 after WrestleMania 35 when they had Sasha embarrassingly have to drop the tag team titles, her and Bayley having to drop the tag team titles to the Iconics, who got released less than 2 years later. No. If Sasha Banks left WWE, this time, I completely agree with it. Because after last night, I truly believe Sasha should leave WWE. I know some people are like, oh, if she went to AEW, she would be second to Britt Baker. Hey, look, Sasha's better than Britt Baker in my opinion, but she would get treated in AEW like a star. If Sasha went to Impact or Ring of Honor or any of those companies, even though that would never happen, she would get treated better than WWE treats her. She's the best female wrestler in the world. And for those of you guys who've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you've heard me say that 1,000 times. But WWE never has and probably never will treat her like this. It took me 7 years of Sasha being on the main roster to finally fucking realize that. And for somebody like me who knows how done WWE is, right? That's my fault. That's my fault. But Sasha should honestly leave WWE. And if she did walk out on WWE again, I would be 100% for it. I don't think she did. But maybe she did do it. I don't know, because she was not on SmackDown last night. and I don't blame her. WWE slapped Sasha Banks in the face last night. Last night's show was a slap in the face to Sasha Banks. It was a slap in the face of the women's division. It was a slap in the face to the WWE universe. It's a slap in the face to anybody who enjoys professional wrestling. Because this company is a joke. I've been saying it a lot lately, and I will continue to say it. Unless your name is Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch, or Charlotte Flair, WWE doesn't give a shit about you. It is that simple, and they continue to make it clear. We all knew that it was likely that Ronda Rousey was going to choose Charlotte Flair, right? That's not really a surprise to any of us at this point, because we all heard the rumors. Charlotte pushed for this match backstage, right? Using her influence, of course, right? Charlotte pushed for this match, and of course, this also probably means that next year at WrestleMania, that's when we'll get Ronda versus Becky in Hollywood, right? This is just the first stage for the next year of Ronda Rousey on WWE TV. No surprises here, but still, it's a slap in the face, because WWE, they did something that it's not just a problem of Ronda versus Charlotte happening. It's that WWE knows that the fans truly want Sasha Banks in the main event of WrestleMania. They want to see Sasha finally get her WrestleMania moment, right? Everybody in that company has had their WrestleMania moment already outside of Sasha and Asuka, of course, right? Even Bayley's had her WrestleMania moments, even though there's been many of times where Bayley has not been booked correctly. And I don't have to go down the list of every single superstar in that division and how they all had WrestleMania moments before Sasha Banks. I don't need to do that on this podcast. That's a video for another day. But it is a slap in the face because WWE knows what we actually want, and they don't care. Vince doesn't care what we want. Vince doesn't care at all. Vince is going to do what Vince wants to do. And he's going to have the same people on top no matter what. Because fuck the fans. Fuck the ratings. Fuck the product. It's all about me at the end of the day. It's all about what Vince wants and all of those dick-riding yes men who work for him in that company. Last night, Charlotte Flair said, flat out, she, if Ronda's going to go on to face Becky, I will choose Sasha Banks as my opponent for WrestleMania. Even though Charlotte didn't win the Royal Rumble, right? Even though Charlotte did not win the Royal Rumble, she came out and still tried to choose her opponent for WrestleMania. And she chose Sasha Banks. Charlotte even asked the fans. She was like, who do you want to see me face at WrestleMania? And Charlotte and the fans were chanting, Sasha. And Charlotte said, I choose Sasha. She said, and I quote, even though I know Sasha's not there tonight, I'm going to choose you. And WrestleMania will be the best and worst night of your career. Charlotte Flair knows, WWE knows, we all know the match we want is Sasha versus Charlotte in the main event of WrestleMania, at least on night one. And they refuse to give it to us because WWE doesn't care what we want. WWE doesn't care at all what we want. Charlotte knows what we want, and the thing about it is she doesn't care. She doesn't want to elevate Sasha Banks at WrestleMania. She wants to elevate Charlotte, right? Because Charlotte versus Ronda, it's not going to be better than Sasha and Bianca at WrestleMania last year. It's not. There will probably never be another match that tops Sasha and Bianca as a women's main event at WrestleMania. Unless the match, includes Sasha Banks because she's the best female wrestler in the world. You know why Charlotte pushed so hard for Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania? Not because of how the match would be, because the match is not going to be that good. I've seen Charlotte and Ronda Survivor Series. It was a decent match, but we all know Ronda's best match ever on the main roster during her first run was against Sasha Banks at the Royal Rumble. And that's a debate I'm not going to have with anybody. I feel like that's undisputed. Charlotte wants to face Ronda because that's her friend. Charlotte wants to face Ronda because it puts a spotlight on Charlotte. And that's the problem. These people at top of WWE, Becky, Charlotte, Brock, and Roman, they don't care about elevating anybody else but themselves. Fuck the rest of the roster. Fuck the fans. They just want to make themselves look great. And that hurts their legacies, and it hurts WWE in the long run. Because you see how disastrous the product is. WWE slapped us all in the face last night. If they had not name dropped Sasha, if Charlotte did not name drop Sasha in that promo last night, That's a little bit different, right? That's a little bit different. Because, then it's just they're forcing Charlotte and Ronda down our throats, and that's whatever. But the fact that they had Charlotte name drop Sasha, WWE told you, we don't give a fuck what you want. We're going to do what we want, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. That's what WWE did to us last night on SmackDown. And if I'm Sasha Banks, I honestly, Sasha tweets, and we all know Sasha is a very private person, right? But the thing is, if I'm Sasha Banks and I'm looking at that, I remember when Sasha did the broken skull sessions, the broken skull, whatever. The broken skull sessions with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and she said during an interview that fine, you can bring in Ronda Rousey, but why you having Ronda Rousey do something that I can do? Sasha knows she's the best in the world. I don't think Sasha hates Ronda Rousey. I think she hates how WWE puts Ronda in positions where Sasha knows that she can be doing it. And Sasha's proven time and time again that she's the best in the world at what she does. And still, WWE doesn't respect her by putting her in those spotlight positions. Because when Becky and Charlotte are healthy, Sasha goes down. It's 2017, 2018, all over again. The only time that Sasha Banks actually gets pushed to the top of the card is when Becky's busy having children and Charlotte's getting a breast job. And I feel like I'm a broken record because I say the same shit every single podcast because I have to put it into your stupid ears. Really. WWE has no respect for Sasha Banks. And I really would love, I just wish for once that Sasha could go on TV and actually say what she actually feels. Pull what CM Punk did in 2011. Because I know, even though Sasha will say, "Oh, thank you, Vince," right? I love you, Vince McMahon, and say all these things, right? All these cryptic tweets and never really addressing, the news head on. If Sasha was really, really allowed to say how she truly feels, she would bury the shit out of that company. She would bury Charlotte. She would bury Becky. She would bury the writers. She would bury the creative staff. She would bury Vince. I honestly believe that. Because in no way Sasha works her ass off the way she does just to get treated like shit. And she's okay with that. We know Sasha's not okay with that. She probably wouldn't admit it, but I wish for once that she would. I really do wish. You can only get so far in life by being quiet. Sometimes you have to go out there and make your own opportunities. And maybe part of that is this Sasha leaving straight out. See how WWE and the women's division would truly suffer without Sasha, right? Because we know that Asuka's coming back. Bayley's going to be coming back. Even I've heard rumors, Lacey Evans, she's coming back as well. Do you think those names are going to be able to elevate the women's division? I know they won't. As much as I love Bayley and Asuka, I know they won't. Because the focus will always be on Charlotte and Becky. That's the problem here. It doesn't matter how much star talent you have in that division. When you have the same two cancers on top of the division all the time, there will be no change. Nothing will happen. Sasha should honestly leave WWE. And if she chose not to go to AEW and she went straight to Hollywood, good for her. She is 30 years old now. Her life is still just getting started. 30 is still basically the beginning of your life. You're still in the very early stages of your life. Sasha's already done enough. She's already proven to me and many others that she's the best female wrestler of all time. If she was to leave WWE today and go to Hollywood, she's made for the rest of her life. She would have so many other opportunities waiting for her. And WWE would be forced to sit back and suffer. And then there would be nothing they could do. Because they would have to realize that for years, they treated Sasha like shit. They truly didn't appreciate her greatness. Because they always saw her as a number 2, not a number 1. Remember Daniel Bryan with the authority all those years ago? You're a B+ player? Right? That's the way they see Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is the Daniel Bryan of the women's division. With the way she gets treated. The WWE sees Sasha as a B+ player when everyone knows she's an A++. And WWE will never truly give her the respect she deserves. And it is absolutely insane. It makes me sick to my stomach Sure, people were like, oh, maybe Sasha can get put into the triple threat. First of all, it should have never gotten to this point in the first place. It should have never gotten to the point where we needed to discuss Sasha potentially being put in a triple threat at WrestleMania with Charlotte and Ronda. The story should have always been Sasha and Charlotte. That's it. There should have been no Ronda Rousey. It should have been Ronda and Becky, Sasha versus Charlotte. It should have never been to this point. Sasha in a triple threat match. Get out of here with that. Please. All right? Until I see it happen with my own eyes, I'm not talking about it. I don't think it's happening. Because WWE doesn't care about Sasha to make that actually happen. Sasha's going to be put in some dumb match at WrestleMania. No matter if it's against, Lita, or no matter if it's she reunites with Bayley and they go after the tag titles, the titles that mean absolutely nothing on WWE TV. Instead, when she should be in the main event. Seriously. The amount of posts I saw last night of people putting screenshots of Sasha and Bianca and then comparing it to how 1 year later we went back to the stereotypical WWE bullcrap with Ronda and Charlotte. Seriously, we were at an all-time high a year ago. Even though Sasha and Bianca was booked poorly, we were at an all-time high with the match they gave us at WrestleMania last year. And 1 year later, here we are with Ronda and Charlotte. And the thing about it is, Ronda and Charlotte's not going to be in newspapers and magazines and articles everywhere. It's not. It's not going to be, on ESPN and all these other outlets the way Sasha and Bianca were. We all know that. But WWE doesn't care. WWE doesn't care about Sasha Banks. That's why she should leave WWE. It's that simple. It is that simple. And it's sad and it's pathetic that I'm actually having to sit here and talk about this. Because it shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case. And let me say another thing. I know, all right, I'm really going in on this opening shoot, and we will get this SmackDown in here in a little bit. But for all these people, because I also saw another thing. I saw so much crap on social media. Excuse me. All right, outside the whole Sasha mess, right? Those of you guys saying, oh, Bianca versus Becky, now that Ronda and Charlotte is official. Bianca versus Becky, we move. Seriously? Are you guys that fucking dense? Oh yeah, Bianca's gonna get her payback for real on Becky this time. Are you guys insane? Seriously. Think about this for a sec. So what? We get Becky versus Bianca at WrestleMania, right? If we end up getting that, because you never know. They could end up switching at the last minute. Maybe it ends up being Becky versus Bayley, which is even a person I wouldn't mind, right? Maybe it ends up being Becky and Asuka. Who knows? But if we end up getting, right? If we end up getting Bianca versus Becky, if Becky, drops the title to Bianca, right? Oh yeah, Bianca gets her revenge on the grandest stage of them all. Is that seriously what you guys think? It's already written. We already know that, barring some big thing, it's going to end up being Ronda versus Becky next year at Mania. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be Ronda versus Becky at Mania next year, and that's going to be when Ronda Rousey leaves the company after that and probably retires for good. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be Becky versus Ronda, right? So how do we get Becky versus Ronda? Oh yeah, Bianca's going to probably end up dropping the title again to Becky later in the year. You guys are okay with that? Seriously, you guys are okay with that? Because so in a way, right? Because in a way, instead of Bianca getting a long title run, right? A long dominant title run, because that should be the story. No, Bianca wins back the title from Becky at WrestleMania. And then what? SummerSlam, maybe? Or maybe later in the year, Becky will end up being Bianca for that title. Just so they can end up doing Becky and Ronda at WrestleMania next year for the Raw Women's Championship. You guys are fine with that? You guys are fine with that. So in a way, Bianca will just be a transitional champion, right? Just to give Becky a break so that they can end up putting the title on Becky again. Because that's what WWE's going to do, right? You think they're going to do Bianca versus Ronda at WrestleMania? No, it's already pretty much set in stone that one of the main events next year at WrestleMania will be Becky versus Bianca, and then maybe Roman versus The Rock as the other one if they get The Rock back. It's pathetic that you guys, don't see what's actually going on here. It really is. And it just shows how much of a mess WWE truly is. WWE is absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And the big thing coming out of SmackDown last night is simple. WWE doesn't care about you, doesn't care about me, doesn't care about us. WWE only cares about the 4 people they have at the top of the card constantly and elevating them to the highest degree while everyone else gets the Stone Cold Steve Austin middle finger. It's that simple. And that transitions us into the SmackDown review. I'm going to start off tonight's review by actually playing you the Charlotte and Ronda Rousey segment from last night. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm not going to wait till later in the podcast to do it. You know, since we've already talked about it for the first 20 minutes of this podcast, let's talk about it a little bit more. So let's go through the segment itself. One of the crazy things was that one of the things is that basically the entire SmackDown show leaked. They already leaked all the segments, all the matches they had planned. And Sasha was not written anywhere on there. So you knew what was going to happen, right? We knew what was going to happen. We knew how bad it was going to look. We just had to see how bad it was actually going to look. And what's sad here is, right, Sasha Banks comes back last week, right? She was in the Women's Royal Rumble, should have won the thing, but, didn't even make it 10 minutes into the match. But then she's not even on SmackDown at all. She's not advertised for the show. Well, no, she was advertised for the show, but she's not there. No mention of her. Everybody else in the women's division had segments. Charlotte, right? Naomi had a segment. Sonya Deville, Alea, Natalya. All the rest of the women's division was there, but there was no sign of Sasha at all. Absolutely nothing for Sasha. Pathetic. So let me play you guys the segment here.
With Becky Lynch. I had a conversation with Becky Lynch. Becky informed me that Ronda Rousey has chosen Becky Lynch as her opponent for the main event of WrestleMania. And Becky is fully expecting a contract in her hands Monday Night on Raw for her to sign. With that being said, after you beat Naomi next week in your championship match, you will be in need of a WrestleMania main event opponent.
So WWE, insults you even more, right? At first, cause I saw the Indians on social media, people going crazy like they're actually doing Ronda versus Becky. Really? WWE gave you a middle finger multiple times throughout this show. You really thought that Ronda Rousey and Becky was going to happen this year at Mania when we know for damn sure they want to do it in Hollywood. This could be, you guys are idiots, man. Idiots. Seriously? That's what you thought? WWE tried to really make you believe that there was a chance that they were going to do Sasha and Charlotte, and they didn't. Some of you guys actually fell for it. I was watching, I was like, this is bullshit. You knew exactly where this was going. What would be the point of having Ronda Rousey on the show? What would be the point of marketing and having Ronda on SmackDown if she had already chosen Becky as her opponent? There would be no point for her to be there at all. That's how you knew this was a bait and switch from the beginning. And some of you idiots actually fall for it. That's why you listen to me, so you can get educated and you won't make the same mistakes again.
Pick anybody. Who should I pick?
And this is the part that pisses me off. You can hear the Sasha chants right there.
Oh, you know what? I got it. I know who I'll pick. I'll pick somebody who isn't even here tonight. I'll pick Sasha Banks. You know what? I wish Sasha was here tonight so I could hear her thank me for the opportunity. Sasha, if you're listening, WrestleMania is going to be the best and worst day of your life, and I'll have a contract waiting for you, sweetheart.
And there you have it, right? Well, Sasha's in the main event of WrestleMania against Charlotte, guys. Yes, we're getting the match we want. Like I said earlier, Charlotte knows, WWE Creative knows, everybody knows the match we want is Sasha versus Charlotte. That's the match we've been wanting for half a year. right? We all thought when the WWE draft happened, Charlotte was drafted to SmackDown, Sasha was drafted to SmackDown, right? We thought, oh, if they're not doing Sasha and Charlotte right away, they're going to save it, right, for WrestleMania. That was the reason why Sasha and Charlotte have had almost very limited interactions on this show since the draft. The draft was back in November. We're in February now, right? That was 3 months ago. They've had almost nothing to do with each other. Sasha's been, just facing other people in the division while they had Toni Storm and Naomi, right? Because they were trying to keep Sasha and Charlotte away from each other because they knew the big match would be for WrestleMania. Charlotte knew this, Sasha knew this. You guys saw how great they were doing on the live tours. Right? Everybody saw that. How big Sasha, and Charlotte, how their matches were main eventing all of the WWE Live events. Everybody was talking about how great the matches were happening. And these are house shows, people. House shows. So everyone's thinking, oh, if they're doing this kind of stuff at a house show, imagine what they're going to do at WrestleMania, a place that they have never faced. They're going to give you an all-time classic women's match. But instead, no, that's not what we get because WWE doesn't care what we want. They want to do Charlotte and Ronda because all Charlotte cares about is elevating herself. It just shows how pathetic this company really is. They don't care what we want. They don't care. And Ronda comes out.
Ronda Rousey was going to be here. Ronda Rousey for the first time ever on Friday night.
Oh, look at this, man. Ronda Rousey's back and she's smiling. What is this? 4 days after Ronda cut one of the worst promos I've ever heard, right? Ronda is back. She's smiling. She's happy to be there again. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I told you guys, right? I don't even hate Ronda Rousey. I don't. I just hate how WWE's booking this whole mess. I'm not mad that Ronda Rousey's back. I want Ronda versus Becky this year. Thing about it is, 4 days after Ronda Rousey came out and she didn't give two craps about being there. We all heard Ronda's promo from Monday Night on Raw, how bad it was, how she looked like she didn't care. I guess somebody got in her ear. Somebody was like, "Oh, Ronda, like you're getting crapped on social media. Like, can you actually try to care? Actually try to care." Ronda's back, and it's like it's her first day in WWE all over again. Ronda's acting like it's her first day in WWE all over again. She's out there, she's smiling, she's giving high fives to the crowd. It's like, oh, Ronda never crapped on the WWE Universe. All of a sudden, she's buddy with all of them again. She loves WWE again. What the hell is this? Am I supposed to forget how Ronda acted at the Rumble? Am I supposed to forget how Ronda acted on Monday Night Raw? Seriously, do we all forget what happened at Survivor Series with Ronda and Charlotte? Remember that match? Yes, it was an okay match. It wasn't on the level of Ronda and Sasha from the Royal Rumble 2019. But you guys remember, right? Ronda came into that match babyface, right? She was so excited for that match. And do you all remember how at the end of that match, when people were cheering heel Charlotte was a heel at the time. People were cheering Charlotte for beating Ronda Rousey's ass. Right? Because Charlotte got herself disqualified and she gave Ronda a brutal attack after the match. Ronda had welts all over her skin and everything. Ronda walks out and she's looking at the crowd like she was absolutely ashamed. She was absolutely disgusted with those fans. I truly believe that was the night that Ronda, started hating WWE fans. I truly believe that was the night. All of a sudden, we're supposed to forget the way Ronda acted after that. We're supposed to forget, how Ronda treated the WWE Universe at the Royal Rumble and on Raw Monday night. All of a sudden, everything's normal again. Clearly, I know what happened. Somebody got in Ronda's ear. And especially someone said, oh, Ronda's a heel. right? And they're like, oh, Ronda, people are not going to give a crap about this at all if you're going to act all heel and act like you don't care. You have to at least act like you like the fans. You don't have to like them, but at least act like it so we can tell some kind of story. That's what I think happened here. Because when I saw Ronda coming out there acting like a baby face again, like it was 2019 all over, I was like, what the fuck is this? Really, what in the hell am I watching? Honestly, it was insane. I didn't know what I was seeing. I was shocked at what I was seeing last night. I was like, what? This is what we're doing?
And Becky calls Sonya.
Rumble match.
And Becky calls Sonya, told Charlotte. She said, guys, you love to talk about me, don't you? But
hear the no reaction here. I don't know if you guys noticed, WWE has been insane with their piped in noises for everything. I've never seen WWE use pipe in noise as much as they have lately. No matter if it's for entrances, crowd reactions, the pipe in noise has never been so obvious in WWE. It's like we're back in the Thunderdome. Seriously.
I checked.
Look at this.
Charlotte, she said, guys, you love to talk about me, don't you?
Clearly, Ronda was supposed to get some kind of reaction by saying that, right? Oh, yeah, you guys like talking about me. And the crowd's supposed to go like, whoa, yeah, Ronda Rousey. We love that you're here, right? You're supposed to get cheers for saying something like that. But there's absolutely no reaction because nobody gives a shit about this feud. Nobody. Honestly, go to WWE's YouTube page. When they made the announcement of this match, right? When they made the announcement of this match, go to their YouTube page. All right? Go to their Instagram page as well. Look at the comments. I didn't see anybody excited about this match. I saw way more negative comments than positive ones.
Guys, you love to talk about me, don't you? But
no reaction.
Last time I checked, I won the Royal Rumble, and I get to pick who I main event WrestleMania with. But you were right about one thing, Charlotte. Being a mom, it changed me so much. It changed my perspective. Like, I didn't fly halfway across the country into an ice storm with my baby to have a chat.
Not a terrible line. I'll give Ronda credit. That's not a terrible line.
I came to teach her the family business of kicking ass. And
that's not a terrible
just
line.
One of many I owe an ass beating to.
Look at the no reaction. Look at these weak ass reactions. Nobody cares. Look how long it took for that chant to start. A good 15 seconds almost.
Let's be clear about one thing, Charlotte. You are not special. You are just first. I'll see you at WrestleMania, bitch.
Oh, yeah!
And there you have it. Ronda and Charlotte now official. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say Ronda's promo wasn't terrible. I kind of like the line how she talked about flying with her baby girl through an ice storm because that's relatable. That's actually kind of relatable. So, Ronda's like, the lines here aren't bad. I just don't give a shit about this feud. I don't care about this feud. Wasting my time. Waste of time.
Well, the opportunity is back in the main event of WrestleMania. And this title is my baby, and she's prettier than yours.
That's a weak line. You're going to compare your title to a real-life baby? That's a weak line. I don't even know why people reacted to that. That was a terrible line. And clearly Ronda, you know, she's still not ready to show her body.
Hang on. You have a terrible temper. And we need to get a couple things straight first. I run the show, not you. I tell you what to do, not the other way around. So back off.
Oh, look out, Charlotte, whatever.
And then Ronda, Charlotte go at it. Ronda puts Sonya in the armbar.
Sonya's tapping. Could that be the
I would
finish?
actually, if I'm being honest with you guys, I would actually kind of like the ones. I would like to see Ronda versus Sonya, like MMA versus MMA. I feel like they could actually put like a compelling match together because you guys know I think Sonya is very underrated in the ring, and I think Ronda's a pretty decent performer, you know. But still, there you have it. Ronda and Charlotte's now official. This is going to be a long road to WrestleMania. And I said this. All right, I'm probably gonna, you know, I've spent almost 40 minutes talking about this, so there's some other stuff we need to talk about on this show, right? But of course, this was gonna be the main thing because, of course, you guys know how much I like the women's division. I saw this on, you know, social media, right? I was considering going to Mania this year, right? I was actually considering it, you know, because just the idea of maybe seeing Sasha get her first WrestleMania victory live, that would be pretty special. You know, but you know that's not happening anymore. All right, you know, and Anthony, my co-host, even though he's been pissing me off lately, you know, he does make some good points every once in a while. You know, he has pissed me off a lot lately because, you know, he always likes to rub it in how bad Sasha gets treated. He told me something like WWE fans, or just wrestling fans who buy what's it called? Who buy tickets for wrestling shows in advance are dumb, and I completely agree with him. You know, somebody that buys WrestleMania tickets 6 months in advance when they first go on sale, or, you know, maybe I could understand if you're trying to get really good seats, but the fact that you buy those tickets so far in advance when you don't know the card is ridiculous. It's ridiculous because most of the time the card sucks. Like I said, a couple months ago, I was so ecstatic for the possibility and the potential that this WrestleMania card had. You know, especially when we all thought we were going to get Sasha and Charlotte at Mania. We thought Sasha was going to win the Rumble, and then we were going to get Sasha and Charlotte in the main event of WrestleMania. And the idea that Sasha will probably get her first WrestleMania victory, winning a title in the main event. You know, that would be an amazing, amazing thing. But that's not happening now. Or it's most likely not happening now, unless they change it to a triple threat. But I don't trust WWE to do that. So I'll get that idea on my head. So the idea of Sasha versus Charlotte not happening anymore, you know, there's no reason for me to consider going to Mania. So you know, I know there's going to be some fans out there that say, oh, I support anything Sasha does. So, you know, and I can understand that, but you can support Sasha from home. That's what I'm gonna do. You know, Sasha, whatever Sasha's do, I'll be rooting for her, but I'll be doing it from this seat in my house. I'm not flying. I'm not wasting money buying a ticket, getting a hotel, buying expensive WrestleMania tickets, right? Just to watch it live. Because even no matter what Sasha does, unless it's Sasha versus Trish, right? Unless they finally give me Sasha versus Trish Stratus, which probably isn't gonna happen, you know, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to hear, oh, I'm supporting Sasha in whatever match she does. Because, you know, you buying a WrestleMania ticket and sitting in that arena, you know, to cheer Sasha being put in a match that's not where she should be when she should be in the main event, right? It just proves that you're just accepting WWE's bullcrap. Seriously, if you buy tickets for WrestleMania, right, to go see Sasha Banks, and, you know, you're telling me you're a Sasha Banks fan, I don't see you as a Sasha Banks fan because you are accepting, you know, WWE, you know, using Sasha as second best. That, you know, and I know I'm trying to say the right words. Let me try to rephrase this. If you call yourself a Sasha Banks fan, right? And you go to WrestleMania, you give WWE your money to sit in that arena and watch Sasha Banks perform in a match outside of what she should be doing, something like, because she should be in the main event. It's that simple. Anything outside of the main event fighting for a championship, right? Or Sasha versus Trish is not right for Sasha. I don't care what they do with Sasha. She should be either in the main event of WrestleMania or she should be facing Trish Stratus. Anything outside of that is a demotion for her. And you paying WWE money to sit in that stadium in Dallas to watch that, and you calling yourself a Sasha Banks fan because you're supporting anything she does when you could just be watching it at home, I don't see you as a Sasha Banks fan. I don't. And that's just facts. That's just facts. If I went to WrestleMania this year and I saw Sasha Banks performing in a match, outside of what she should be doing, I would want you guys to criticize me for it. Call me a hypocrite. I would want that. Because, I can't be, sitting on this podcast saying what I'm saying and not be true to my own words. It's that simple. It's that simple. All right? So that's my thoughts on that. Don't tell me you're a Sasha Banks fan if you pay money to go to WrestleMania to watch Sasha perform in a match outside of what she actually should be doing. It's that simple. And they use that excuse. Oh, she's my fave, right? I'm supporting my fave no matter what she does. Even when WWE doesn't treat her right, I'm still going to support her. Stop. You can support her from your couch. You giving WWE money is just you telling WWE, hey, I accept you, having Sasha be a demotion. Seriously. It's that simple. So anyway, let's move on. So outside of that, just because this SmackDown was very, very bad. Sorry, this SmackDown was it was terrible. It was terrible. There was another thing on the card, and I'm gonna say this flat out. I am sick, and I've said this before. I'm sick of Roman Reigns as champion. As good as Roman Reigns is, I'm sick of it. I'm not interested in it anymore. And I thought we were going to get title versus title, but it seems with every passing day, it is more likely that we're going to be getting title versus title with Roman and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. We still don't know if that's going to happen. Nothing's been confirmed, but with each and every passing day, I think it's more and more likely that we're going to end up getting Roman versus Brock, title versus title at Mania. And here's the problem with this. Here's the problem. Right? Not only is it a problem that Brock Lesnar is a part-timer, right? And Brock's not going to win that title because he's a part-timer. But here's the thing. If they give Roman Reigns the WWE Championship and he becomes a double champion at WrestleMania, they're not going to merge the divisions. They're not ending the brand split. We know that. We know that Fox and USA still have their separate TV deals for right now. And I think later this year, some of those deals can be renegotiated. But we know that if they give Roman Reigns the double championship at WrestleMania, they're not doing it to end the brand split, which is the only reason why they should be doing it. But they're not doing it to end the brand split. They're doing it to elevate Roman. That's it. Because seriously, you give Roman the WWE Championship. Well, yeah, maybe he appears on both shows, right? He's on Raw and SmackDown. He's pulling double duty. Who cares? They don't do house shows to that extent anymore. They're not doing house shows 5 days a week anymore. So Roman would only be working one extra day a week. Who cares? And so, you have Roman pulling double duty, but think about this. Who's he going to elevate? The problem with Roman's reign... No pun intended. The problem with Roman's title reign right now is he hasn't elevated anybody but himself. Everybody he's beaten has not been elevated. I don't have to go down the list. You guys know this. Look at KO. Look at Finn Balor. Look at Cesaro. What are they on now? Bryan Danielson's in AEW. Braun Strowman and The Fiend aren't with the company anymore. John Cena's doing movies. Ash is at home. Who's he elevating? You give him the WWE title, it's not going to bring the ratings up on Raw. He's not going to elevate. If he's not elevating anybody on SmackDown, right? He's not going to elevate anybody on Raw. What do you think I hate that stupid t-shirt he wears? The needle mover. What needle are you moving? You can't even do a consistent 2.0 rating every single week. And you're calling yourself a needle mover. WWE's ratings have never been as bad as they are now. And you want to try to sell me on that stupid shirt that doesn't mean anything. So you give Roman the title. What does it do? What does it do? Here's the thing, man. Roman's not elevating anybody. So what? I keep saying the same stuff because it has to get in your head. I'm going to end up being right again. Just like I was right about Bianca Belair beating Sasha last year at WrestleMania. It's done nothing for Bianca in the long run. Roman's not going to elevate anybody by being a double champion. The brand split's not going to end. You know what will end up happening? They will end up either having somebody win Money in the Bank to get one of those titles off of Roman, or they're going to end up having Roman hold the title again for a year, and it's just going to put WWE's main event scene more in a state of depression. It's that simple. The only people that Roman hasn't beat that's main event stars in the company are Bobby Lashley. That's really it. He's beaten every other main event star already. There's almost nobody else because you've released all your young talent and you had Roman already beat all of your main event stars. There's only a couple more matches. You can do maybe another match with Seth, right? And then you can do a feud with Bobby Lashley and maybe a feud with Drew McIntyre, and that's it. There's nobody else for Roman to feud against. So what? You're going to have Roman holding both those titles for another year while the main event scene has absolutely no interest? I'm sick of Roman's title reign. Seriously. You want to make Roman to the most dominant champion of all time, right? But while the rest of your main event scene suffers, it's not the right decision. If you actually had a plan to end the brand split and actually make this better, maybe I would agree with Roman winning at WrestleMania and winning both titles. But since this is only being done to elevate Roman and there's no actual plan, it's not going to do anything for anybody. What's Fox going to say if you make Roman a double champion and you have him start showing up on Raw? Because you know Fox wants Roman on SmackDown exclusively. That was the whole point of Roman being drafted to SmackDown. Because Fox wants him only on that show. So what are you going to tell Fox when you have Roman start showing up on both shows? What are you going to do? I'm telling you, man, WWE doesn't think anything through. And then Vince comes up with the same excuses every time he meets with the executives and the investors. And he just let him get away with it. This is not going to do anything for anybody. You know what they should do is have AJ Styles win the WWE, or either have Bobby Lashley or AJ Styles win the Elimination Chamber, and then lead that to WrestleMania. At WrestleMania, you either do AJ Styles versus Edge for the WWE title, or you do AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley for the WWE title. That should be the plan. Not this title for title bullcrap. Because it's not to end the brand split, it's just to elevate Roman. And it's not going to help anybody else in the long run. It hasn't helped anybody in the year and a half Roman has held that title, and it's not going to help anybody if he holds that title through 2023. It's that simple. Hate this crap, man. And on top of that, Goldberg's back. Man, and you guys know how I feel about Goldberg. Oh my gosh. So let me see if I can play this clip for you guys.
I've got my essay written, and I've been working on it for about a week. So now I'm going to show you how I...
That a goat can always slay a beast. Because I thought I was going to spend my life saying, ladies and gentlemen, the reigning, defending, undisputed...
And look, Paul Heyman's promo was good, but I don't care. I have no interest in the Brock Lesnar and Roman storyline. You realize the real reason why they're doing Brock and Roman, not just to elevate Roman Reigns, right? Even without the title versus title bullcrap. The real reason they are doing Roman versus Brock is simple. It's the same reason they did The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin 3 times at WrestleMania. It's because Roman's never beaten Brock at WrestleMania. Brock won the first 2 matches, and Roman's going to win the third. Just so Roman can have it on his record that he finally was able to beat Brock at Mania. It's that simple.
You will never hear that again.
Heyman's promo was good. I just don't care about this story. I don't. The only thing I would actually, I would be interested in seeing is seeing Brock beat Paul Heyman's ass. That's the only thing I would be interested in seeing. You know, even though it's just, you know, storyline and all that, we know that Brock and Heyman are still cool off camera, but it would be interesting to see, you know, Brock just beat Heyman's ass for betraying him the same way he did in 2003 with the Big Show. That's all I want to see. I have no other care for anything they do with Roman and Brock. No care.
No title versus title, champion versus champion, winner take all at WrestleMania, because Brock Lesnar does not get what Brock Lesnar wants. Brock Lesnar will do what Roman Reigns wants Brock Lesnar to do. And at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar will acknowledge the champion, Roman Reigns. Oklahoma City! This is your chance to show a worldwide audience your moment in history. OKC! Acknowledge your tribal chief!
I'm so sick of this, bro. I don't care. I don't care how good his theme song is. I don't. I love Roman's theme. This crap sucks. I'm sick of Roman Reigns as champion, and I will keep saying it as long as I have to. I'm sick of it. And there he is, Goldberg.
Holy hell! Wait a minute. It can't be.
It just gets worse, man. It just gets worse.
It is! It can be! The Hall of Famer is here! The three-time world champion, Goldberg, is marching to the ring!
I don't know if Bill Goldberg's out here to acknowledge Roman Reigns or not. His face surely says he's here for business.
How can anybody find any of this interesting? How? Somebody tell me how this is interesting.
Just walked right by Roman. Almost a look of disbelief in the eyes of the Universal Champion.
You got a 55-year-old Goldberg in the ring, bro. 55 years old. You have this piece of crap in the ring.
I acknowledge you.
And they tease this crap. This is interesting to people.
As my next victim. You, me, Elimination Chamber. For the Universal Championship. You're next. Remember, Pat, it was supposed to happen.
Oh, yeah. Michael, shut up, Michael Cole. Oh, yeah, the match that was supposed to take place at WrestleMania a couple of years ago. We get it. That would have been a travesty. People should honestly be thankful that we had the pandemic. Imagine us actually getting that match at WrestleMania with Roman Reigns still as a babyface. Oh, man. For that, maybe we should be thankful we had a pandemic. So imagine us having to sit through that match. A babyface Roman Reigns versus Goldberg for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine how bad that match would have ended up being. Oh my gosh. This is bad, guys. Seriously. And I know what people are going to say. Oh man, you know, the Saudi Arabians, they paid a lot of money to get Goldberg. This is just for the Saudi Arabian show. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares, man? Who cares? I don't care if it's a one-off. I don't care what it is. The fact that Goldberg's even on WWE TV, the fact that this guy is even in a ring in 2022 is the problem. I don't care how much money Saudi Arabia paid for Goldberg. I don't care if WWE's getting paid a lot of money for that. Fine. Whatever. It's the problem that Goldberg can't wrestle. And we know Roman's going to defeat Goldberg at Elimination Chamber. We don't even have to think about it. We don't have to think about it. We know it's going to happen. Still, man, it's just pitiful and disgusting. From a storyline perspective, does it make sense? Goldberg can just walk in whenever he wants and get a title match. He's done it now how many times? Like 4 or 5 times? He did it to Bobby Lashley. He did it to Kevin Owens. He did it, who did Goldberg and he did it to The Fiend. He did it to The Fiend. He did it to Drew McIntyre last year at the Rumble. Now he's doing it to Roman. So that's 5 different occasions that Goldberg has walked in and just got in the title match. He doesn't have to win a number 1 contenders match. He doesn't have to do anything. He just walks in and he magically gets a title match. Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, it's a one-off. Still, I don't believe it's a one-off. Goldberg will end up being at WrestleMania. You know what I think WWE might end up doing? You want to know what I think WWE might actually end up doing at WrestleMania? I think, yes, Roman will defeat Goldberg. There's no doubt about that. The match should be 30 seconds at most. Goldberg should just get a spear by Roman, and that's it. They'll drag it out. They'll try to drag it out for 10 minutes, right? But Roman's going to defeat Goldberg. We all know that. And the fact that we're getting that match is pathetic. It's pathetic. This is what Goldberg's going to end up doing, right? They're gonna have Goldberg lose to Roman, and then what? They'll probably end up doing like Goldberg versus Edge, or it's just some nonsense like that. Because you think Goldberg's gonna show up for Elimination Chamber and not stick around for WrestleMania? What, you really think Goldberg's gonna miss out on that payday, taking someone else's spot? It's 2 nights of WrestleMania, so you can do more matches. So Goldberg's going to end up losing the Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber, and then they'll do something ridiculous with Goldberg in some stupid match at WrestleMania. I don't know who it would be. I don't know who you would have Goldberg face. Like I said, maybe Edge, but that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And it's pathetic. Goldberg's going to take a spot in the WrestleMania card away from somebody else who truly deserves it. It's 2022 and we're still doing this part-timing bullcrap. And the fact that people let WWE get away with this, it's pathetic. It truly is. I hate that, man. Oh, you guys know how much I hate Goldberg. I've been saying it for years. Fuck Goldberg. But man, I don't know what else to say, bro. And Elimination Chamber is like 2 weeks away, I believe. So yeah, we only have to endure this for a couple weeks, and then that would be the end of it. But still, I just hate the fact that Goldberg's even on TV. I understand, right? Yeah, they paid their money for Goldberg. They're paying millions of dollars to have Goldberg on the Saudi Arabia shows. But still, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's that simple. So anyway, yeah. Let's get. So now that luckily that's out of the way. Oh my gosh, bro. They'll probably have Goldberg spear Roman Reigns next week on SmackDown or the week after or whatever. And like I said, I don't care about Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at this point. I don't care. Paul Heyman's promo was good, but I just don't care. Don't care. The only thing you can hope for that is not title for title. That's all I can hope for at this point. But whatever. What do I know? What do I know? So I could honestly, if I wanted to, I could end the show right here. I could end this podcast right here. Because, I already talked about, the serious stuff that we need to. There's really nothing else to talk about on this show, but let's go through the rest of this shit show quickly. There's really not much else to talk about, but we're going to do this very, very quick. Like I said, most of SmackDown, so the whole SmackDown show was spoiled before SmackDown even went on the air. So we already knew what we were expecting. And the fact that WWE didn't make any changes to this show shows how pathetic they are. So the rest of the show, we had Ricochet versus Ridge Holland, right? They've been doing this pathetic feud for weeks now. How many weeks in a row have we seen Ricochet versus Sheamus or Ricochet versus Ridge Holland? Why the hell are we wasting time on this garbage? I don't know. What do I know? So Ricochet beats Ridge Holland in a very, very quick match. This was very, very quick. But then we got a commercial break, and we see that this match turned into a tag team match. So now it's Sheamus and Ridge Holland versus Cesaro and Ricochet. So we saw Holland took out Ricochet at ringside. So Cesaro was mainly by himself, right? And Holland was able to get the win. And was able to put Cesaro. I don't know why I said Charlotte. He put Cesaro away with the Northern Grit, and that was that. Waste of our time. Next up, we had Eric versus Jimmy Uso. Right, we know that the Viking Raiders are going to be facing the Usos. I believe this match. I believe this match is already set for Elimination Chamber. Right, so the Viking Raiders versus the Usos, that should be a decent match. You know, these are two. We know how good both these tag teams are, so that should be a decent match. I don't see the Usos losing those titles. You know, but anyway, we had. Who was it again? It was Eric, right? Eric. And, you know, this match was pretty pathetic. You know, this match only lasted a couple minutes. So Jey Uso won with a top rope splash. And like I said, or no, it wasn't Jey, it was Jimmy Uso, my bad. But this, like I said, this was very, very quick. Very, very quick. And Jimmy won with the splash, and that was it. That was it. This was very surprised at how quick this match was. And clearly this tells you WWE doesn't view the Viking Raiders as serious contenders. This is clearly just a filler feud. That should be, you know, obvious to everybody. And we know how good the Viking Raiders are, but WWE doesn't care. You know, I don't know who the Usos are going to face at Mania. Maybe the New Day again, right? But I don't know what the Usos are going to do at WrestleMania this year. I don't. But clearly, you know, having Jimmy beat Eric that quickly shows you that WWE doesn't, you know, give the Viking Raiders any chance in hell. That's what WWE told you tonight. And, you know, at the Elimination Chamber, it's going to be a very, very quick match. Or maybe not a quick match, but Viking Raiders aren't going to have any chance to win. Like I said, I don't know what the Usos do at Mania. I don't know who they face. Because they've done the New Day feud to death. And I just don't know. Like who the Usos defend against at Mania. So next up, so this was pathetic. Like very, very pathetic. That they be treating the Viking Raiders like crap when we all know how good of a tag team they actually are. Moving on, we had Aliyah versus Natalya. You know, they've been actually trying to book this into a feud, right? I don't know if WWE's trying to get Aliyah over. You know, I don't know if you guys have seen Aliyah's new shirt. You know, she's rocking this Aliyah 317 shirt, right? It's in reference to how she beat Natalya in 3.17 seconds. And it's also in reference to Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, Austin 316, Aliyah 317, right? So I don't know, you know, if WWE's trying to push Aliyah because she's not that good. And, you know, I'm not saying Aliyah, you know, can't be a contender, but I don't know what they're doing here. You know, I saw if there was a backstage interview that Aliyah had a couple weeks ago, and in that interview, Aliyah, you could see it was obvious. Aliyah was reading off cue cards. She was looking down every 0.5 seconds just to look at her lines. It was the most obvious thing I've ever seen, and I was like, "What the hell are they doing here? What the hell?" And so I don't know what WWE is doing here with this Natalya and Aliyah feud, right? I don't know if Natalya's just trying to get Aliyah over. I don't know what's happening, you know, but this is like the third or fourth week in a row these two have went at it, right? So basically what happened is Natalya was beating Aliyah outside the ring, right? But then So this match ended by countout, right? So Natalya was attacking Aliyah at ringside. She sent her into the guardrail and sent her back into the ring. She wasn't paying attention to the referee's 10 count. So Aliyah wins the match by countout. So Aliyah gets, I believe this is her third straight victory on Natalya. I don't know, but Aliyah got the win here. So after the match, Natalya went to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville and demanded a pinfall and submission match next week. So you can only win the match by pinfall or submission, and it's gonna be what's it called? Hitman Dungeon style, right? So I don't know if it's gonna be in a special location, but it's gonna be pinfall and submission only. So Aliyah will have to, won't be able to get away with anything. But I'm on the bet, pinfall submission is not going to save the title. I'm on the bet next week they'll just have Aliyah win by roll up. I don't see how is this going to change anything. I expect Aliyah to win next week. That's been the theme of this feud, and I don't expect it to change. So I'm thinking they're just going to have Aliyah roll up Natalya next week in the match and then win that way. But we'll see. Not that I really care about this feud, but we'll see what happens next week in the dungeon style pinfall submission match with Natalya and Aliyah. So next up, we had Drew McIntyre's Warpath, right? So McIntyre, he was one of the only surprises of the Royal Rumble, right? Where he came back when some of us thought we weren't going to see him till maybe after WrestleMania because of the serious circumstances around his injury, so McIntyre's on his warpath. McIntyre's another guy who, what does he do at WrestleMania? There was a time where some of us were thinking, oh, McIntyre versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, we would be down with that, right? But now since we know they're going to be doing Brock and Roman at Mania, I don't know what you do with McIntyre. I have no idea what you do with Drew McIntyre. If it's title versus title as well, I don't know. Who does McIntyre face? There's really nobody on the SmackDown roster outside of Roman that I want to see McIntyre face. I legitimately don't know what you do with McIntyre at Mania. I don't. I can't even think of anybody on the Raw brand outside of maybe Edge that I would like to see McIntyre face. So I don't know what we do with McIntyre going into WrestleMania season. I don't. So I'm actually, kind of concerned. McIntyre is actually one of the top baby faces on the main roster, and I don't know what you do with him. So anyway, like I said, so McIntyre is back, defying the odds, right, with the John Cena super healing, and he came out tonight, got a pretty good reaction from the crowd. So basically, he stated what we've been hearing the reports, how he was talking about, sorry, my computer's acting up. So McIntyre was, he's talking about how he was doing rehab 3 times a day, 6 days a week, and how he was doing everything to get back. I don't know if McIntyre is truly back at 100% because the way his injury sounded, it sounded serious. It sounded like, we remember there was reports saying that he was probably going to need surgery. So yes, I can understand the rehab made it a little bit better. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but the fact that, McIntyre he's back and he's not needing surgery, that's kind of shocking to me. Maybe I could definitely see something that, like, maybe after WrestleMania, then McIntyre takes a break from WWE TV to get the surgery. Maybe that's what maybe he just wants to be here for WrestleMania season. And as soon as WrestleMania ends, then he takes a hiatus to get 100%. Right? I don't know. But I just find it shocking that McIntyre is back and all of a sudden, he's back at full health, because the way it sounded like, there was a chance McIntyre was going to be out for a good amount of this year. The injury sounded pretty serious. We were hearing stuff about his neck and the back, right? So I'm glad he's healthy and he's back, but still, I'm still kind of surprised that he is. So he talked about his rehab and everything like that, and basically he made it clear that he was going to make Corbin and Madcap Moss's life living hell for trying to end his career. So Corbin came out, right, and Madcap Moss tried to attack McIntyre from behind, but McIntyre knew it was coming. So he tells Madcap Moss to tell him a joke, right, and Madcap Moss tells him a joke, right, and then McIntyre rewarded his joke with a Claymore kick, and then he told Corbin, I'm going to make your life living hell every single week. So I could definitely see this going on till Elimination Chamber. Maybe they do either Corbin versus McIntyre at Elimination Chamber, or maybe they do a 2-on-1 handicap match, right, allowing McIntyre to get his full revenge, and then that being that. But after that, I don't know what you do with McIntyre at Mania. I saw some people say maybe you just have McIntyre go after the IC title, right? And that is an option. That is a potential option. But I think someone as good as McIntyre shouldn't be going after the IC title. I would put him in a singles match of some sort, but I just don't know what you do with McIntyre at Mania. That's how weak the SmackDown main event scene is, right? With Jeff Hardy leaving, all the star power is on Raw's main event scene, and SmackDown's main event scene outside of Roman and McIntyre is very, very weak. So I don't know. I don't know what you do with McIntyre at Mania. I don't. I have no care for this Corbin and Madcap Moss stuff. We'll just have to wait and see what happens after that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Next up, we had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal, right? So there was a funny thing because Sami Zayn showed a video of him and what's the name? I forget the guy from the Jackass thing, the guy he's been feuding with. But so yeah, they had Sami Zayn at the what's it called? The Johnny Knoxville Jackass premiere. And I do like that. I do love when WWE blends in with like reality and real life stuff. So I kind of like how they continue that story there. I couldn't care less about Johnny Knoxville, but Sami Zayn is hilariously entertaining. So that was pretty cool how Sami Zayn tried to raid the red carpet, and then of course Johnny Knoxville came with his entourage and they kicked him out. Even though I did feel a little bit bad for Sami Zayn because Johnny kept appearing on WWE TV giving Sami Zayn hell, and then Sami Zayn was just trying to get some payback by doing the same thing. But he got nothing. He got kicked out of the premiere for his troubles, and Johnny Knoxville kept shocking him. But I did enjoy Sami Zayn here on the red carpet. That was kind of hilarious. Then Sami Zayn then went to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. And then he was like, when am I going to get my IC title one-on-one match, right? And then they tried to book the match for next week. But Sami Zayn said he wasn't ready. And they said, all right, then we'll do the match in 2 weeks. And, Sami Zayn, okay. So in 2 weeks from now, on SmackDown, we're getting Shinsuke versus Sami Zayn. At least that's what we're supposed to get. Things could change. You never know. But that should be exciting. I'm happy that finally that, they're actually doing something with Shinsuke Nakamura in the IC title. Shinsuke Nakamura is too good to be not doing anything with that title. Plus, the IC title is way too prestigious to be absolutely not doing anything with. So I'm happy that we're finally getting some kind of story with Nakamura and Sami Zayn in the IC title. So we had this match with Jinder Mahal, Sami Zayn on commentary. Sami Zayn was hilarious, right? But Nakamura was able to get the win with the SASHA. After the match, Zayn and Nakamura had a stare down. We all remember the classic between Sami Zayn and Nakamura years ago, 2015, in NXT's glory days. One of the greatest NXT matches, I think, ever. Nakamura and Sami Zayn, back when Sami Zayn was a babyface, of course. So Sami Zayn, Nakamura, man, the roles are, different now, right? Nakamura's babyface, Zayn is heel. I feel like they could have a fantastic match in 2 weeks if WWE allows them to. I wouldn't even be mad with having Sami Zayn win the IC title again. I'm not against it, So we'll see what happens here in a couple of weeks. But Hopefully WWE gives Nakamura and Zayn the spotlight they deserve, because the IC title deserves to finally get some traction on the show. Roman Reigns is not the only singles champion on the show, guys. Right? So hopefully they actually give a little bit of time for Nakamura and Zayn. Next up, we had Naomi. She went into Adam Pearce's office, right? She wanted to get her hands on Sonya Deville. She wanted Sonya in the ring, but Sonya refused multiple times, right? And mainly Naomi was still pissed about what Sonya pulled in the Rumble with Cameron, right? We all remember Naomi and Cameron back when they were the Funkadactyls. So Naomi wanted payback for that. But Sonya, of course, being the heel, was not gonna get into the ring with Naomi. So Naomi and then Adam Pearce was like, or no, Sonya was like, the reason why you can't get in the ring with me is because next week you'll be facing Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's title, right? And it's nothing to be excited about because we know Naomi's not winning. We know that for a fact, which is another problem. Sasha and Naomi, being demoted. We know how good those two are. We know how good Naomi is. Naomi's being used here as filler, right? Because Charlotte has done nothing with the SmackDown Women's title. She has not defended that title, so they're just using her as filler to say, hey, let's get Charlotte a SmackDown Women's title defense on television. We know that Naomi's not going to win next week. Sonya will probably have something to do with the match. So, yeah. So that's why when I saw this, I saw nobody get excited. Absolutely nobody got excited for this match because we know that Naomi has zero chance of winning. It's hard to be a Naomi fan and even be excited for this match because it's filler. Naomi has absolutely zero chance to actually win this match, which sucks that that's what we're using Naomi for, as filler. But, this is WWE being dumb. It says WWE being dumb once again. So that was announced for next week. So can't wait to see Charlotte bury Naomi next week. It's going to be stupid. Last but not least, since we already talked about Ronda and Charlotte, we had the New Day versus the I can't pronounce this. Los Lotharos, I think. It's Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, right? And it's official. Big E's back in the mid-card, or not in the mid-card. He's back in the tag team scene. So much for Big E being a single star. So much for that. He's right back to where he was the last 5-6 years before that. He's back as in the tag team division with the New Day. So much for making Big E into a single star. Even though he did a great job promoting the company when he was WWE champion. But that's what WWE does. It's all about Brock. It's all about Roman. Fuck Big E. Fuck Bobby Lashley. Right? Because if Brock wins the WWE championship at the Elimination Chamber, Bobby Lashley's going to have a 3-week title reign. But no one's going to complain about that because we're going to get Brock and Roman title versus title at Mania. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about, Bobby Lashley and him getting done dirty, and Big E, right, having all of his singles run momentum just absolutely stopped and canceled, and then Big E just being thrown back into the tag team scene. Nobody cares about that because all we care about in WWE is Brock and Roman Reigns, right? That's all that matters. Fuck everybody else. So they have Big E back officially in the tag team scene on SmackDown. So, look, this is a match that wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad match. It's just what is it? Who cares? Where's this leading? This was a good match. This was a good match. Probably the best match on the show. Right, may have been the actual highlight of this show, if I'm being 100% honest with you, with all the other nonsense that was taking place. But this was good stuff here. They knew they did a good job of making Garza and Humberto legit challengers here, right? So they isolated Kingston, keep him away from Big E. He was eventually able to make the hot tag to Big E, right? Him and Kingston did the wheelbarrow bulldog combination, but Humberto broke the pin up. Then the heels nearly won the win with a pretty good electric chair dropkick combo, right? But the New Day fought back. They did the Midnight Hour and got the victory, and that was that. I don't know where this leads, right? Like I said before, I feel like we're gonna end up getting the New Day and the Usos again, which they have done to death, you know, at WrestleMania. I feel like that's where we're heading. I don't know what else, because who else can the Usos face after they beat the Viking Raiders at the Elimination Chamber? What are you gonna have the Usos do at Mania? It's gonna be the New Day again. So that's what I'm expecting, and that's that. You know, like I said, this was a good match, and we know how good the New Day are. It just sucks to see Biggie just regulated back to tag team, back to the tag team division, when, in my opinion, he was doing very, very well for himself in the as a single star. But, you know, of course, WWE doesn't care about Biggie when it comes to other people like Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So, like I said, it's probably going to end up being the New Day and the Usos for the 100,000th time at WrestleMania. That's where I see this heading. It'll be a good match. It's just that people are just sick to death of seeing the New Day and the Usos. Even though they put on a good match every time, you can't blame people for being tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. All right? But what do I know? Anyway, yeah, that's it. We already talked about Ronda and Charlotte for the first 40 minutes of the podcast. So that's about it. I don't have anything else here to talk about on the SmackDown review. So I'm going to end the review right here. I'm not going to sit back and say the same things I said at the beginning of the podcast. But anyway, guys, that's about it. That's about all I got for you guys today, man. It's sad that this is WWE's direction going to WrestleMania season, and my care and my interest is at an all-time low. This was not a good SmackDown, in my opinion, and I am not hyped as we continue on the road to WrestleMania. I am not hyped at all, but we'll see. We'll see if WWE can change that, even though I doubt it. But, you know, Sasha continues to get treated like a B-plus player, and it's sad. And honestly, she should leave WWE. That's what I'm going to leave you guys with, man. My excitement for WrestleMania, the Elimination Chamber, is not it. It is not there at all. But what do I know? What do I know, man? But anyway, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for joining me here on the podcast. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the big red button and by clicking the bell right next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I'm going to get out of here. You guys stay safe and healthy. Thank you guys to everyone who live tweeted with me. If you guys want, follow me down on social media. The links are in the description down below. Thank you guys for the love and support. I will see you guys later. Peace.